Okay, today I'm going to do a DPF filter clean on this Range Rover Vogue L322 2011 model 4.4 TD V8. So why am I doing that? Well, because a couple of weeks ago, well, probably a month ago actually, it came up with a message saying that the soot filter was full and I'd have to take it to a dealer. It didn't even go amber first, it went straight red, which I thought was a bit rude. Anyway, so I collected up the AP200 scanner from AUTEL and tried to do a dealer forced regen, but it said it's too far gone, it's too blocked, you can't do anything with it. So just to give me limited options, the only thing I could do was trick it into thinking it had a new one in, which I did. I told it via the AUTEL software that it had a new DPF filter in it, which made it work again. But of course, we all know that although it did a regen after that, which was good, it couldn't get rid of the ash levels, which will still be in it, which is probably why it came with the message in the first place, because it had too much ash. So now, once you've done that, and I'll just show you the scanner that I used for that. I used this little bit of magic, which is quite expensive, but worth every single penny. There we go, Maxi App AP200. Incidentally, I also have this one, this Elm 327, and that's useful with different software called Car Scanner. And with Car Scanner, you can look at the soot level, which is quite handy, and do graphs of it and things. So I use that one too. I'm going to make a digital gauge, or maybe even an analog gauge that you can attach to these Range Rovers, which will show you the soot level all the time. I think that'll be handy. But for the moment, have to use that scanner. Anyway, so at the moment, it thinks it's got a new one in, but it hasn't. And this really annoys it, because every time it does a regen, when it gets over 22, 21 grams of soot per metre squared, it can only get down to about 6. Then it gives up. And the reason it gives up is because, of course, the rest of it is ash. And it doesn't know there's ash there, so because it's been reset. But the fact is it can't get rid of that ash, so it always fails. It always attempts the regens, brings it down to 6, so the car keeps going, but it does more regens than you might normally do because of the fact it hasn't got the extra capacity, the 6 grams. And also because you get nasty log entries in the ODB software, because it never succeeds. Every regeneration fails. They do succeed really, but they log as failed. So though you can keep using it, it's not quite right. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to clean it out. And I'm hopeful then that when it does regenerations after that, it will get all the way down to 0 and be happy. So I will, of course, tell it it's got a new one again after this. But what I'm going to use is this K2 DPF cleaner. And you see lots of videos of people using all sorts of things to experiment with, like off the vehicle, like dishwasher fluid and all sorts of things. And that's all well and good off the vehicle, but they have to dry it afterwards, because otherwise it doesn't actually flow properly. And if you were to put some of that in there now on the vehicle, you'd probably wreck your engine, because the water would stay in there. This stuff, although they say it cleans it no better when off the vehicle, is more suitable on the vehicle, because of course it is solvent based, and so it'll all disappear afterwards and not cause the back pressure that would be experienced otherwise. We're going to put it in through the pressure sensor on the engine side. The only thing I'm slightly skeptical about is how it's all going to actually get into the DPF filter from there, because it might just all accumulate the other side of it. So we'll see if it does work. I might have to retry, and what I'm thinking is I might attach a vacuum cleaner to the exhaust, so there's some suction to actually bring it in. Or maybe it's the fact that after you've just put this in, it says start the engine immediately and run it for 15 minutes. Maybe it's during that time that it pushes it through. We'll see if it works, or if it's snake oil. Let's hope it does. Another plan, if it does fail, is that there's the union under here. If we just look under the car, there's your, I have to zoom out a bit when I, there's your DPF, there, and then just here is, I think that's your cap there, yep, or at least another silencer. There's this union here, and I can undo all this perhaps, and then I'll actually see inside the DPF, and I can see the honeycomb then, and perhaps direct it more appropriately into it, but that's quite rusty, so I'll have to go to my father-in-law's car ramp to do that, and take it up off the ground and do that. I don't want to do that here on the driveway, even though I'm quite in off-road mode with 2 bits of railway sleeper. It is quite a nice bit of clearance, I have to say. You don't really need to jack the car up to do it. So what am I going to put it in? Where am I going to squirt the stuff? Well, if we look under here, I'll just shuffle along underneath. Oh, da-da. Right, this is the engine side. There's this sensor wire. I could use that, I suppose, but then I'd have to crack it open on there, which is a bit more tricky. Actually, what I'm thinking I shall do is, there's a sensor, there's a hose there, which goes all the way along to these two here, which these are where it works out the pressure differential of the DPF, looking each side of it, and they go all the way up here to behind the middle differential here, the transfer box, and right up on top of it is the box of tricks. Let's get up to it, you can see it there, which actually senses the pressure differential. And when they go wrong, also you can get fake readings, and it's possible mine's faulty. We don't really know. I'll have to. I don't think so, because the readings do go up and down quite nicely. And I will check it with. I'll probably use a gas fitter's millibar pressure sensor, and compare it against the readings in the car at some stage. For now, I'm just going to clean it. And if we go down to here, you can see handily there's actually two joints here, and I'm just going to use the pliers to take one of those off, the one that goes to the engine side, and then I'm going to squirt it in. Notice while I'm under here there's some oil seepages on here. That's a little bit unfortunate. I need to look into that. Not sure that's coming from. I prefer it's coming from the gear, the oil, the engine, but it's not. So I'll look into that later. Anyway, I'll just pause the video whilst I undo all this clip, because nobody really needs to watch me struggling with that. It's just a clip. Well, I have to say that it actually came quite easily. I was thinking it was going to be a nightmare, but a screwdriver in the end to give it a little bit of a push, and then off it came. It's the one handily that's nearest to the front of the car on those two joints that is the one for the front sensor. So here it is, dangling loose. Oh, lovely. Dripping water out, which is interesting, isn't it? Yeah, well, mine's not to wonder why. There it is. So that's where we're going to squirt that goodness into it. Just there. You can see it. Try and get a better angle. That's the wire for the temperature sensor, and there it is. It's the one nearest the front of the car, which I've checked goes to the one. Let's see, at the front of the car. That one, the other one being the one that goes to the exhaust side. Right, so now I'm going to see if I can plug in that thing. I've read on the internet from people who are using that can that some people turn it upside down by accident, and of course then it would seem that it must be a can with a straw that goes all the way to the bottom. So turning it upside down doesn't actually work, the liquid doesn't come out. So luckily there's plenty of room under the Land Rover for it to be, the Range Rover for it to be the right way around, which is a bit of luck. So there is the can with its thing on. That's hopefully that little pipe shoves up the end of that. Otherwise I'll be a little bit sad. Well, there we go. I've shoved as much of the pipe into there as possible. So I'm guessing I should have measured how much was in there, I suppose. I'm probably gone up to about the joint there, I'm hoping, and hopefully gravity will take its path from there. Otherwise I might need to seal this up if it decides it likes to come back out here. We will find out now. How am I going to position this so you can watch? Let me have a look and see if I can do that. You don't want to miss the best bit. My highly scientific camera mount. There we go. Right, let's see what happens. Anything could happen, guys. This is too exciting. I'd say there's only air in there now. In that can. Not much left now, is there? Right, well, it's all in there. So, now what do we have to do? Well, the instructions say that we have to start the engine and allow it to run for at least 15 minutes. We'd better put the sensor back, so let's do that. I'll just pause it while I reattach the sensor. Little pipe and clip. There we go. Pipe and clip are back. As you can see. Now I'm very nervous about the next bit because it doesn't say wait ages. It says start the car and wait 15 minutes for it running. So let's hope that it doesn't destroy the thing from back pressure. I'm very nervous about this bit. Let's see what happens. Wish me luck, guys. Oh, yes, I know the battery's not low, but you'd think it is. That's a problem for another day. Let's see what happens. Well, the engine's still running. We haven't got any immediate error messages, which is a good start. Let's open the door and get out of here. See what's going on outside. Anything exciting out the exhausts? Not really. It doesn't say rev the shit out of it or anything like that. So I'm more happy about the fact that it hasn't gone nuts. Yet. There's no error messages yet. So now I have to wait 15 minutes. I'll let you know in 15 minutes. Okay, so we've driven for half an hour. I didn't see any black smoke pouring out the back of the car, which I suppose is good and bad. No engine warning lights, no performance problems. During the drive I monitored the back pressure of the DPF and also the soot count. Soot count went up during the drive, which was a little bit disappointing, but perhaps that's because the foam caused some back pressure. When travelling at, I used the manual gear flappy pedals and changed it up to 3000 revs. At 3000 revs we were looking at about 120, 125 above on the pressure. So well, that's actually 25 because 100 is what it gets when the engine's not running, and 110 or so when doing 2000 revs. So, and we'll see the soot's now at about 17.5. So having driven for half an hour, we're going to stop now at this service station, and then when we set off again, I'm going to force a regen, which will then, we'll have to see if it brings it back to zero. Okay, so we finished our test drive, and then we stopped after half an hour, and the soot level was still going up at that point. We then drove back with initiating a dynamic regeneration, and this time it went down from 18 point something down to 4.6. So that is definitely an improvement because it was originally not going any lower than 6.9. So what's that? 4.6, 5.6, 6.6. 2.3 grams of ash that's gone. I don't know if that's going to continue going down from future regenerations. We'll have to have a look and see if it keeps going down a bit more over the next, as it's all loose, or whether the 2.3 grams is what you get from the can cleaning out. And we also don't know, of course, if putting another can through would remove another 2.3 grams or whether that's as good as it gets. But what we'll need to do now is wait for a while and see if we get more successful regenerations now than we had before, because we had none before. None of the regenerations were successful since my tricking it without cleaning it. So now that I've actually cleaned it and reset it, we'll have to see if the regenerations are now going to succeed, and we'll let you know once we find out in a few weeks.